Hello everyone, welcome back to another lecture of our Linux course. And till now we have learned a lot of things, how we can create directories, how we can manage them through command line, how we can manipulate the text inside those files and inside those directories. But now in this lecture we are going to know how to create the zip or archive of those folders and of those files. So it's a pretty simple method and it won't take much time as previous lectures. So let's get our hand on to practicals. So I will just open my terminal here and just enlarge the font size first as always. And to create an archive file, there is a simple command that is tar. Now tar is basically tapes archive. Its full form is tapes archive and we use it to archive a file. So first we will create a tar file using command tar, and then there are some options for it. If we will type --help and press enter, you can see, if you scroll up, there are a lot of options. You can go through it, pause the video, or you can read through your terminal as well. So since in the terminal, as you can see, we have some examples as well given here, like tar/cf archive.tar. Now what does -c and f means? -c means to create a file and -f means to specify a file type. So we will not copy this command, instead we will create our own modified command using our own options. So let's go back to let's scroll down and here we are. So we will type tar/cvf. Now what does v means? V is for verbose file output. Now we will name a file that will be example.tar, and since it is a folder type, so we will type folder/ and we will hit enter. And if we will type ls, you can see we have example.tar present here. So we have learned how to create a tar, or you can say an archive file, but not creating the file is the only option we have. We can extract it as well. So we have to learn how we can extract it. So we will use that command again, that is tar, but this time we have some different options, that is -x, v and f. Now you know what does v and f means. Here -x means to extract a particular folder or a particular file. So we'll just type the name of that file, that is example.tar, and we will hit enter. And if we will type ls, since there was nothing inside that archive file, so we haven't got anything in the output. But if that archive file contained many folders, some directories, some files, or some codes, we must have seen some output on our terminal. But since it doesn't stores anything, we didn't get any output. There is another option in tar files that we can compress it to even smaller size, or you can say we can create a zip file of that tar file or archive file as well. So what are the commands for that? So let's see. So to create a zip file or a more compressed version of archive file, we have to type tar again and then the command czvf and then the file name. Now what does this Z means now? So Z exactly means what stands for zip file. So we will just type the name of the file again and we will type another extension, that is .gz. And since we are creating a new folder of archive file or a zip file, you can say, we have to specify its folder type and we will hit enter. And if you will type ls, you can see we have a even compressed version of this archive file, that is example.tar.gz. Now I have a quick activity for you. You have to run your neurons and let your brain do the work, and that activity is you have to extract this compressed version of archive file using a commands option. So let's take a pause this video and do it by yourself. I'm also going to tell you how you can extract this compressed version of zip compressed version of archive file, but let yourself do this first. I hope you did your work and you have extracted the file, but if you haven't extracted it yet, let me show you how you can extract the compressed version of archive file. So you just have to type tar again and dash xzvf, because dash x is used for extracting file, and then we have to type the name of that folder, that is example.tar.gz, and once we hit enter and we type ls, we won't see any other files here, because as we all know that this compressed version of zip file doesn't contain any other folders, but if it did, it must have shown other folders extracted in our directories as well. Now this was the tower version of zipping or unzipping a file, but how we can create a simple zip file in our terminal, and to create that we have to use a command, that is zip. Yep, it's a simple command, as its name states, it zips a file. So let's get our hands on. So we'll just have to type zip. Let me first clear this terminal because it's getting too messy, and here we have to type zip and then the file name you want to create. And before we create any file, so I will type dash r option, that is used for recursively including all the directories or the subdirectories within the specified directory in the archive. Then we have to type name, and we will give it a simple name, that will be a zip example dot zip, and since it's a folder, we have to type folder and slash, and we will hit enter. And if we will type ls, okay, so it gave an error, that is we have to specify a folder type or a file type using dash I command. So we will go back with a command, and here we will give a space, type a dot, then we have to specify the file type with dash I, and then we will hit enter, and it gives us a warning that zip file is empty, as we haven't included any files or folder inside it. And if we will type ls, you can see we have zip example.zip file in our directories listed. Now suppose we have to create a zip file with multiple files in it. How we can select multiple files in our command line? So first of all, let's create some files here. So we will create it with touch, and we will name it file1.txt, and then we will create a file again that will be named as files1.txt. And now we will create a zip file with both of these files at once. So for that we have to type zip and then the name of a zip file that we are going to include these files into. So for that we have to give it a name, and it will be, I guess, files.zip in my terms, and then we have to type the name of those files that we want to zip it into this zip file. So we will just name it as files1.txt as we have created before, and then file2.txt, and once we hit enter and type ls, we can see we have a zip file here, that is files.zip. Now we will unzip it and we will see if it is storing our files or not. We will see it in a while, but let me show you another thing. Suppose you want to include a file into your zip file, but for that you have to extract your zip file first, right? But in the Linux, you don't have to extract your zip file. Instead, you can just update it with the file that you want to include in it. So let me show you how it is done. For example, we will create another file that will be named as new file.txt, and to include a new file, we have to just type zip and dash u. Now dash u is used for updating a particular zip file, and here we will name the zip file, that is files.zip, and then we have to type the name of a file that we want to include, that is new file.txt. And once we hit enter, as you can see, it is saying that adding a new file.txt in it. So now it is supposed that it has included or added that file into a pre-existing zip file. Now we will unzip it and we will see if it is storing that or not. Now to unzip it or to extract it, we have to just type a command that is unzip. The name of this command is pretty simple. As it states, it is going to unzip a file. But before we extract the files inside this zip file, there is an interesting command that we can use for listing the directories inside a zip file before we extract a particular zip file. So that command is unzip /r for listing files inside it, and we have to type the file name of that zip file, so that is files.zip. And once we hit enter, we get an error because I get a typo error on my command. And once we hit enter, as you can see, it contains 3 files, that is files1 that we have added first, then file1.txt, then new files that we have added in a pre-existing zip file. So how we can unzip it? We just have to type unzip and then the file name, that is files.zip, and once we hit enter it says files1.txt is existing already because we have created while zipping it. So either we can replace it or we just have to rename it, and to rename it we just have to type r and hit enter, and we have to type new name, that will be new1.txt, and we will hit enter, and then again a new file that we have to rename it, we will type enter and its name. So as you can see, we have extracted all these files that was inside a zip file. Now there is an interesting command that we can extract files from a zip file to a particular path or a particular specific directory that we want to. So for that, just type ls first, and we have to see if files.zip exists or not, and as we can see, it exists. And once again we will type to list if the files inside it is still there or not. So these 3 files are still in there. So now what we will do is we will extract this file into a specific directory, and to do that we have to just type unzip and type -d directory, that is to specify that -d option that is used for specifying that we have to extract this file into a particular path. So we will just use command unzip, and then we will give it the name of the file, that was files.zip, and -d option as I have told you earlier, then the path, that is home/kali/downloads directory. And once we hit enter, as you can see, these files are going to be extracted in downloads directory. And since I guess a file named files1 is already existing in downloads directory, so it will ask us to rename it, and we have to rename, or either we can leave it as well. So if we'll list directories or files inside downloads directory, so we can see we have extracted this file and also this one into download directory.